Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege and honor to welcome you all to the Western Regional Conclave of the Institute of Directors, Mumbai, being held at the National Stock Exchange, a venue that rightly symbolizes the vitality, resilience, and sophistication of India's financial markets. At the outset, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our chief guest, Mr. Amarjeet Singh, whole-time member of Securities and Exchange Board of India, whose leadership has been instrumental in advancing regulatory integrity and investor protection in our markets. A special word of welcome also to our guest of honor, Mr. Ashish Chauhan, Managing Director and CEO of the National Stock Exchange, who has consistently exemplified the spirit of innovation and institutional excellence. We are also privileged to have among us eminent thought leaders and distinguished speakers, Professor Dr. Rama Prasad Banerjee, Ms. Saili Bhoir, and Dr. Rajiv Uberoi, whose presence adds great depth to today's deliberations. To my colleagues from the Institute of Directors, Mumbai, esteemed members of the corporate fraternity, and all the participants present, I convey my sincere appreciation for being part of this conclave. The theme of today's conclave is boardroom finance, governance, and investor trust, building stronger institutional engagement. This theme resonates deeply with the challenges and aspirations of our times. We are living through an era of profound economic transformation. The global economy is being reshaped by digital finance, sustainability imperatives, and shifting investor expectations. Within this dynamic environment, Board of Directors and particularly independent directors carry an ever-expanding fiduciary responsibility. Corporate governance today is not merely about compliance. It is about cultivating a culture of accountability, transparency, and ethical decision-making that inspires confidence among investors and the broader public. In this context, the Institute of Directors continues to serve as a bridge between policy, practice, and principles, promoting high standards of boardroom performance and stewardship. Independent directors occupy a pivotal space in the modern governance framework. Their primary duty is to uphold the integrity of decision-making, to ensure that short-term gains never compromise long-term sustainability. In a recent speech delivered at the IOD Conclave in New Delhi, Mr. Tuhin Kant Pandey, the chairman of SEBI, stated that the independent directors must be stewards of accountable corporate governance. The recent enhancements in SEBI's governance framework, from stricter disclosure norms and board evaluation mechanisms to risk management oversight, reflect the growing recognition that the independent director's voice must be both credible and consequential. In essence, independence in the boardroom is not merely symbolic, it is quite substantive. It demands a readiness to question, to challenge, and to uphold fiduciary duty with courage and conviction. At the same time, the role has evolved beyond that of a sentinel. The independent director today must be a strategic advisor, a custodian of governance, and a champion of stakeholder trust. At institutions such as the National Stock Exchange, we have seen how robust governance mechanisms, anchored in transparency and sound financial reporting, have strengthened investor confidence and market stability. These are lessons that must echo across every corporate boardroom in the country. Sound financial governance is the foundation of sustainable enterprise. As the complexity of financial instruments, transactions, and disclosures grows, so too does the expectation that boards maintain rigorous oversight. We have seen, both globally and domestically, how lapses in financial ethics can erode decades of reputation in a matter of moments. Misreporting, opaque related party transactions, or inadequate internal controls can have systemic repercussions. Therefore, directors must not only review financial statements, they must also interpret intent, scrutinize assumptions, and ensure that all disclosures truly reflect the company's underlying health. In this regard, SEBI's ongoing initiatives, including its newly released guideline on related party transactions, emphasis on enhanced ESG reporting standards, independent assurance mechanisms, and business responsibility disclosures, have set important benchmarks. IOD has complemented these efforts by strengthening its director certification and board masterclass programs, which equip directors with the competencies needed to exercise informed and ethical judgment. Together, these frameworks are building a more resilient and transparent corporate governance ecosystem. The digital transformation of finance has fundamentally altered the nature of governance oversight. We are now operating in an environment where algorithms make investment decisions, AI predicts creditworthiness, and data drives valuation. While these advances create unprecedented efficiency, they also expose institutions to new categories of risk, from cyber intrusions to data manipulation and AI bias. Boards can no longer treat technology as a peripheral agenda. Digital fluency is becoming a core competency for effective directors. Independent directors, in particular, must be able to understand and question how technology influences corporate finance, internal controls, and risk exposures. The Institute of Directors has, over the recent years, incorporated these dimensions into its learning modules and board dialogues, ensuring that directors are equipped to deal with the realities of a digitized economy. The focus must now shift from cyber awareness to cyber resilience, embedding technological preparedness into every layer of corporate governance. Good governance cannot exist in isolation. It is a shared responsibility between boards, regulators, investors, and the broader public policy ecosystem. Forums such as this conclave play a crucial role in fostering dialogue across these boundaries. Our venue today, the National Stock Exchange, stands as a symbol of how institutional collaboration can strengthen public trust. The close alignment between SEBI's regulatory vision, NSE's market infrastructure, and IOD's capacity-building mission demonstrates what can be achieved when institutions work in concert. The western region of the IOD has always sought to encourage such collaboration, bringing together leaders from government, finance, academia, and industry to create a more cohesive governance culture. The goal is not merely to react to emerging risks, but also to anticipate and prepare for them through continuous learning and exchange of best practices. As we look ahead, it is evident that the boardrooms of the future will demand an even more integrated skill set, one that balances financial acumen with ethical judgment, technological awareness with human insight, and strategic vision with public accountability. The essence of good governance lies not in adherence to procedures alone, but in the spirit of responsibility that guides every decision. Independent directors, therefore, must act as the conscience keepers of their organization, ensuring that corporate ambition remains grounded in institutional integrity. India's corporate governance journey has come a long way. But as we deepen our participation in global markets, we must ensure that our governance practices reflect not only compliance and international standards, but also the distinct ethical values that define our enterprise. In conclusion, as we begin today's deliberations, let us remember that the strength of our financial institutions will ultimately depend not on the complexity of our instruments, but on the credibility of our intent. Trust, transparency, and accountability must remain the guiding principles of every director every board and every institution represented here today. The discussions that will follow today on boardroom finance, accountability, innovation, and technology will, I am sure, generate valuable insights that will inform both policy and practice in the years ahead. Let us continue to work together, regulators, directors, investors, and institutions, to build a corporate India that is globally competitive, socially responsible, and ethically governed. On behalf of the Institution of Directors Western Region, I thank you all for your presence and your commitment to this vital cause. I wish the conclave every success. Thank you so much.